Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the biggest Man United fan channel in the land. This is the United Stand. I know exactly what you're thinking. You sat at home going, Lee Mack, Thursday nights. Lee Mack does Thursday nights, but it is Wednesday, and I'm in covering, just helping out, just doing my bit for the cause, and we've got lots to discuss this evening. Manchester United are looking at left back, right back possibilities. Christian Eriksen could be on his way to Ajax. We've got loads to get through in the sense of the midfield area. We've got Amrabat. Oh, Greg. Just give me one sec, mate. Nope. I think I'm just panicking, Hey? Just to get it. Sorry, I was just panicking for a minute. We have got a little bit of a technical hitch. Hopefully Greg will just sort that out for us. But once he gives the laptop back, yeah, that's the one, mate.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Let's get straight into this, as they say. Apologies for that. Bit of a slow start here on a Wednesday. It's because Kev's just used to doing the Thursday nights, isn't it? But it's a good job I've got Greg there to help me out. And I'm sure in the comment section, everyone will be having a right good laugh. Everybody always has a good laugh at Kev. I'm thrown off, man. I'm used to doing the Thursday nights. But let's get into this and let's talk about Manchester United stepping up their interest and their search for a new left back. So United have apparently identified 3 targets for this position. Now, the targets, you might have heard of them, you might not have, but what Kev's going to do is bring that to you now. We've got David Hancko, who plays for Feyenoord. I'll break it down for you. He's 26 years old, if you've not heard of him. Marcus Alonso is another one that we have heard of. The thing with me is, man, I look at him, he is a free agent, he's 33 years old. And I think if you're looking in that left-back position, you've got a player like Luke Shaw, who's been fantastic for Manchester United, but again, he certainly needs some kind of backup and cover. The thing with me is that one's coming in from Mr. Luckhurst. I think he thinks he's got the exclusive one. So I suppose it depends. You will look at that and think, does it hold any substance? Is there anything behind this one? But Tyrick Mitchell as well from Crystal Palace, 24 years old. That one is coming in this evening from Disco Mirror on X, formerly known as Twitter. But do you know what? I need to know what you lot, the Manchester United stand. The United Stand community are with this one. I mean, should Manchester United be looking at spending money on what could be a backup left back? If we're being totally honest, if Luke Shaw, I mean, he was good enough to travel with England, go to the Euros, yes. He didn't have much game time, but Gareth Southgate did put his trust into him. But I think we know that if Luke Shaw can get back to full fitness, he is the player that will be starting at left back, and he's also great cover at centre back as well. But on Hancko, the first player that was mentioned, Slovakian defender, he's played 48 games out of 49, missing only 1 international friendly. The year before, he played 95 out of 96 games for Feyenoord. So, I mean, in terms of the present cover that we've got at Manchester United, which is Tyrell Malacia, I mean, that is a story in itself. That's something I want to feed into very shortly. But we did have somebody on earlier. We have our sources here at the United Stand, and we wanted to just get a bit more on David Hancko because we were thinking, who is he? What's it all about? And in the words of our source himself, he believes, and because there's no fee that is mentioned about in this deal, our source says that the asking price from Feyenoord would be about €45 million. He plays left back for Slovenia, which he's good in, but he's a beast at left centre back. So again, you would be getting somebody that's sorry, Slovakia, not Slovenia. I'm having a nightmare here, man. Honestly, It's the Wednesday, Thursday thing is really throwing me. But thank you to producer Greg in me here. He's like, it's Slovakia. You knobhead. I've got it. Settle down. We had a shaky start. I'm into me groove now. But €45 million for a player that, I mean, even if our source is saying that he's a beast at left centre back, I think we know that Euros come through the door at Manchester United, and also we've got Martinez as well occupying them. There's stories still that Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Matthias de Ligt as well. So it seems to be an area of the team that Erik ten Hag is certainly looking to address. And why not? Because last season, injuries hampered us big time. And you looked at Dalot, you know, he had an outstanding season. From Kev's point of view, he was Manchester United's player of the season. I wouldn't have personally, I know through United it was given to Bruno Fernandes, but I thought Dalot for pure consistency, the fact that he played left and right back, because of the issues that we had at left back, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. But there's loads to look into, but on Hancko, you know, he could be a good utility player, but at €45 million, I mean, that in itself is excessive. And it remains to be seen if an INEOS or somebody would be looking at that and thinking, you know, Ten Hag would have to justify that and say, you know, really looking and thinking, well, he's 45 million. INEOS might say, what's the game time situation? And Ten Hag might have to say, well, I can't guarantee that he's going to start every week. He's somebody who's going to be a squad player to come in. INEOS, you know, the likes of Barada, Ashworth, Wilcox might look at that and say that this is a ridiculous amount of money to be spending on somebody that's, you know, you don't even see as like a first choice, kind of even left centre back, left back. So, I mean, that one would be up to Ten Hag. I've written down here and said, from my personal point of view, I think it's too expensive. We talk about PSR and what Manchester United are trying to do with outgoings. I mean, I think there's other areas of the team that Manchester United need to address. Again, we will get into that later on. I think the midfield area, I think that's something we can kind of feed into with Amrabat and Casemiro, and we're kind of looking at that at this moment in time and thinking, you know, what is going on? You know, does Ten Hag want these players? In the sense of Casemiro and that, but we will have to see on that. But I've written down here as well, I mean, Manchester United, if we're looking at that left-back situation, at the risk of repeating myself, I said Luke Shaw for me starts every week, you know, if he is fully fit. But it's up to the way that Ten Hag manages Luke Shaw next season, especially on the back of his injury woes last season. But the thing is, we didn't have Malacia, you know, knocking at the door and saying, well, I'll step up now, because we're pretty much in the dark when it comes to Malacia. But, I mean, my thoughts would be possibly a loan deal if you're looking at cover for a left-back. I know that Alonso has been mentioned as a free agent at 33 years old. Do you know what? I can't see it. And I know that it's Luckhurst that's come out with this one and threw the name into the pot. It just seems a bit scattergun, that one. I think it's quite an easy one to throw out. But you think of Manchester United last season when we brought in Reguilon, or as Ricky would say, Regulion. We brought in Regulion. It did all right. But again, you know, he didn't get much of a look in. He was sent back off loan. Obviously went on to do whatever he did in the Premier League. But personally, I think you'd be looking in that left-back situation. I think a loan option would be better for Manchester United if I'm being totally sort of looking at it. I'm thinking, we're not spending €45 million on a player that really might not even be, you know, in the first team. That's what we have to look at this moment. And like I said, the structure, Ten Hag's going to have people to answer to. He will have to argue that, and I'm sure he will probably get shot down on that one. The chat is absolutely popping off. As I always say to you, the thing that threw me here was, because it's a Wednesday night, I'm used to Thursday, I was getting excited thinking it's Friday tomorrow. It's not. It is Wednesday. But Emily Derry said, please not Marcus Alonso. Too much like a Murto deal. But bonus, Kev, for the win. Thank you very much, Emily, if you're just joining us. That's the first super chat of the evening. And as I always do say to you, a super chat will ensure that Kev reads it out. So I don't want any of them dodgy names because I proofread them first. I have never, ever been caught out reading these funny. I know Beth got caught out the other week with an absolute belter, which has just been repeated in my ear. But I mean, if you want to give it a go, we can go there. But the main thing is that we get through the news. That's what I like to do. Chilled out, we get through the news, break through that, get your thoughts. I will also go into I always call it the United Stand Ultra Chat as well. We get in there, have a look. And as I always say, it is a bit like just opening, a door. Well, it is, isn't it? It's a chat room. You peer in and just see anything could be going off in there. Sia says, hi, Kev. I'm trying to get a new Xerxes chant going. Can you help me? If it goes like this, oh, Joshua Xerxes, to the tune of, oh, Robin Van Persie. Oh, Joshua Xerxes. That's a tap in, that. That's a tap in, Sia, but I like it. Sometimes you don't have to, come out with new songs and all that. It's a goer. It's an easy one. It's a tap in, but Sia, you're getting the double thumbs up from Kev, but I'm sure there will. There's all endless kinds of possibilities with a Xerxes. Mojo says, just proofreading, Mojo, yeah, I got my mojo back. I have. Says, let's just strengthen the defence this summer. If Ugarte happens, good, or look for an affordable option, but let's strengthen the defence, which is something we're talking about. It is topical for this moment, so thank you very much, Mojo, for the super chat. Super chat's flying in. It's almost like I just said, try and catch me out, and everyone's having a go. Risik Mungal. I don't think that is anything. It didn't sound any wrong in my head. Yeah, it is your name, mate. I honestly, you've got to understand. I'm just reading it out, and Kev's brain doesn't work that quick, so I'm thinking, does it sound right? It does. So we'll roll with that one anyway. He says, "Hi, hope you are welcome." I am, yeah. During the United Stand podcast, it was stated Manchester United required another striker. Has INEOS considered Jonathan David? I think that is a name that has been kind of mentioned. I think it's been discussed on previous shows, so I won't get into that. But Risik, thank you very much for the super chat. And Justin, yes, we're lift off. I'll just call you Justin. Said, what about no. Right, back. Oh God, I'll have to start doing Wednesday nights as well. Wednesdays and Thursdays. You very, very nearly got me there. That was nearly a double. Listen, we'll get into it. There was another story coming out this evening. I'm sure there'll be all crying emojis in the comment section now. But I'll leave you to all. Just keep it clean. Don't be mean in the chat room. Respect everybody else. And for God's sake, just finger that like button. That's what Kev says for the Wednesday night. First Kev ever Wednesday night appearance. And this is how we are cooking. But there is another story that was coming in from Telegraph Ducker. See, I'll just go all back to being composed and like I'm really good at this, which I am. Manchester United are expected to step up their search for fullback reinforcements. So we're sticking on theme with what we started the show, where we had a little bit of a blip with a few gremlins in the system, but we are still on the kind of left back, right back situation, because it does seem that Manchester United are in the hunt, if you believe all the stories that are coming out. Mazraoui is another one that is being mentioned. He's thought to be a potential right back should Aaron Wan-Bissaka leave. While United are exploring permanent and loan possibilities in left back position. Again, that is coming in from Telegraph Ducker, and we have to look at it as we always do here. It's a news show. We go in there, we pick the meat off the bones, we do all that. But, I mean, again, there isn't a fee that is being mentioned with this, but, I mean, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and again, is a story in itself, because I think we know that West Ham are making inquiries about Wan-Bissaka. They want to take him, but Manchester United are playing hardball, which they should do. The player still has a contract at United. He's a player that cost us, what, in the region of about £50 million. So you look at that, and I like Wan-Bissaka, but I think what Wan-Bissaka would not have seen coming at Manchester United was the fact that the season, the leaps and bounds that Dalot has come on this season. Nobody could have foreseen that. I think we all knew deep down that Dalot, there was a player there. You know, you look at him, the way that he trains, the fact that he can play in, you know, left back and right back in itself is an art. But last season, as I said, for me, he was Manchester United's player of the season, that nobody come close to what Dalot did at Manchester United. And I think Wan-Bissaka has, through, you could say no fault of his own, he's just slid down the pecking order, you know, and probably is a fault of his own, actually, the more I'm thinking about it. Kev's having an argument here with himself on a Wednesday night in the United Stand studio, but I have just quickly flip-flopped from saying that it's not like Wan-Bissaka's fault. Yes, it is. Because really, if you've got a player that's pushing you in Dalot, you need to raise your levels. And with Wan-Bissaka, he's never actually done that, Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, horses for courses. If you're looking at like the FA Cup final, which, again, if he does leave this season, Wan-Bissaka, to a West Ham, whoever it would be, I'll always look back and remember that match. And I remember Doku coming on at half-time and thinking, Wan-Bissaka is in for, you know, a hell of a long 45 minutes here. And we talk about one-to-one defensively as a right-back. Wan-Bissaka was insane in that game, did everything right. You know, even to the extent of the goal, that was Onana's fault. But, he shows him across. But again, he's just not stepped up. Not stepped up to the challenge of Dalot. He's not raised his levels. And that's what we need at this club. We need players that are going to look at that and fight, you know, in the way that they'll think, I want to be in this team. I want that shirt number. I want to be out there. What I'm going to do is jump in. A few super chats. I don't know why I said it like that. A few super chats have just shown up. Lots of S's in there. Into, let's just have a look. Can people try to catch me out again? Jack Stewart says, what about signing... No, I'm not reading that. I'm not reading it. No. Patrick said, have you seen our interest in... No, I haven't. Are these, is everybody just trying to wind Kevin? I've opened myself up here. But, right. Peacock Falcon. That in itself sounds very funny, but it probably is just your YouTube name, so thank you very much. Says, love the show so far, Kev. What do you think of the 24-25 Man United kits? I like them. Listen, we're going a bit off topic here, but one thing I will always do is certainly give a lot of love to the Super Chats, a good bit of time too. Thanks for the Super Chat. I like the kits. I think they're all right. I've heard some people saying that they're quite lazy. They're a bit like Nike, was it, in the 2000s or whatever. You can't go wrong with Adidas. You know, Kev got himself there's the first shirt I bought in ages, but the Stone Roses one. You can't get a better shirt than that, man. It'll never go out of date. Hasn't got a sponsor on it. You know, I'm going to Malta in, what is it, about 4 weeks. Kev's going to be rocking round Malta in his Stone Roses shirt. Bucket hat on that. Just idiot abroad. You know, they should follow me around with a camera. It would be an absolute corker. Philip says, how come no one seems to be going for Frimpong? Again, that's another name that has been mentioned. I think there was some kind of stories coming out over the last couple of days that if Man United can get Wan-Bissaka out, you know, get the money in for that. And there are other players that we will get into in a bit where I know it sounds a bit like Championship Manager back in the day. If anyone remembers it, what's it called now? Football Manager or something. You know that it just sounds so easy that I'll sell him for 25 mil, bring him in, do this, that. You know, in real life, it's a bit more difficult getting these deals done. I think we've seen even the way United got off to a quick start that we might possibly see that slowing up. Rojo says, hey Kev, married my soulmate Jenna today, right? So fair play to you, mate. Happy marriage. I hope you have a long and prosperous marriage, and yeah, everything's really good. Sheldon the Don is just in there. Absolutely nothing to say, but thank you very much for that. Gary Lacey is in the chat. I'm familiar with that name. He said, evening, Kev. The rumour's true that Michelle Keegan is set to become the new physio. Get yourself off to the treatment room. I do know Gary Lacey. I'm sure he's on Twitter or something, and anytime he knows I've got a soft spot for Michelle Keegan, but the feeling is not mutual. Do you know what I mean? I'm dealing with Mark Wright, and I am losing that battle. But yeah, I mean, if she was, I'd certainly be getting the boots back on, trying to get out there, trying to get a knockout in training. You know, kick me down there, kick me around there, wherever. And then, yeah, I'll be off to the treatment room to see Michelle Keegan. Wayne Finnegan is in there, familiar with him as well, says, yes, Kev, you legend, great show as always. Thanks everybody for the kind comments. Risick is back and says, my name is correct. Casemiro should stay so the coming in youngsters can learn from one of the best holding midfielders for the past 2 decades. Hold your fire on that one, Risick. I love the super chat, absolutely. Love the interaction, as I always say on the United Stand. You know, it is you lot that make it. I mean, forget this idiot who sat in front of the camera. It's you lot and your opinions. You know, without this, it'd be a lot more difficult. But you've made me laugh already tonight, which you get the double thumbs up from Kev. John says, United agree terms with LB, yeah, I'm with you, yeah. Mason Webb says, QPR have a good left back. Yeah. Oh, yous are on fire tonight. Absolute fire. We could do an hour. What do you reckon, Greg? We'll just, yeah. We could do an hour of these. I tell you, when I get back home later, I'm going through these. These are the best. And the beauty of this is I'm not being caught out. I'm not reading them out. But you lot know in the chat room, you're the ones that are all laughing now and looking, and you know what I'm laughing at. So it's like it's a private joke that we've got going on. Oh, God. I'm not even reading that name. It's something like Schmal. I know what you're trying to say, and that is not. If that is your name, fair play to you, but we'll just call you Schmalik. We'll call you Schmalik. It says, how do I stay consistent losing weight, Kev? Cheers. Listen, this is the United Stand Wednesday night show. We can't turn this out into some kind of fitness video. Maybe we could. United Stand here Wednesday night. How to lose a few pounds. How to get in shape. Stay tuned. Could be a possibility, but what I would say is just watch what you're putting into your body and exercise. Even if you don't go to the gym, just walk. But see how we've gone off in the tandem here. Rojo just said just a bit of fun with the previous chat, mate. Love you, Kev. Love you too, Rojo. But again, I can't be caught out. You know, you think of all the other, you know, top celebrities or whatever. Not that I am a celebrity or for 1 minute saying that, but, you know, you could just say one wrong thing on the camera. Next minute, you go viral on the old internet, and Kev's career at the United Stand is over. So Kev has to be careful here. Do you know what I mean? Kev has to be careful. But let's talk on the left and right back situation, as we were discussing at the start of this video. I did mention the name Tyrell Malacia because one of the absentees, is that how you say it? I think it is, absentees from the US tour. Obviously, the team have now flown out on their way to the US of A. Was that Malacia continues his rehabilitation from injury under the guidance of medical staff at Carrington. And this is something that the club has confirmed. We were just talking about the fact that United are being linked with left-backs, and I think that probably tells you a hell of a lot about where Malacia is with his recovery. You know, is it an injury? Anyone even at the United Stand, I've watched previous presenters come on in front of this camera and nobody seems to know what is going on. So I think it is a bit of a touchy kind of taboo kind of thing with Malacia, because certainly in this day and age, we know that mental health can play a part and stuff. So I'm certainly not saying that it is. It could be. We don't know. It just seems to be very strange that he's been out for so long. But if anything, obviously, I'm sure, you know, the viewers that are watching as well, that we would all, you know, wish Malacia, very well for the future. And of course we want to see him back in that team. He had a little bit of a run. Again, one of these players that we don't really know what he's all about. And it's hard to gauge an opinion of a player like Mason Mount last season, who was injured, practically most of the season. Yet you will still get people asking you, all right, Kev, what do you make of Mason Mount? That's Cockney Steve. They will say, he's shit, innit? And you go, shut up, mate. He barely played last season. It's not down to him being a bad footballer, it's injury. If he gets a run of games this season, fingers crossed, we want to see him in that team. And that goes to a hell of a lot of players. I've actually had a thing lined up, actually. There's 7 players that I've kind of thrown into a list. Now, if I don't get through it towards the end of the show, because it's so action-packed, we'll do it tomorrow evening, because Kev does it Thursday night, so I might keep my powder dry on that one. Another story that was making the news, obviously to do with Manchester United, and I think a few people have started to read into this a little bit negatively. It is the fact that Sir Dave Brailsford, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox are all travelling to LA. And let's face it, who wouldn't want to go to LA? I'd love to go. But yeah, they're all out there. They're heading out there. I think it's today, isn't it? But it says that they're heading out to get used to working with each other. They're there to support Erik ten Hag and the staff. Other executives are remaining in Europe to negotiate transfers. That was coming in from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic. And yeah, you do see this kind of negative spin on this. Like, oh, well, for God's sake, what are they going over to LA for? They need to be back here. They need to be signing players. What's going on with Delete? Ugarte, what's going on? You just need to look at this. And if this was the previous regime, I've said this so many times on a Thursday night, if it was the circus, Woodward, Arnold, Murto, I would believe it was just a lad's piss up in LA. They've just thought, I'm not missing out on this one. I'm all over that. Get the passport out the drawer, sunglasses on, bang, aeroplane, nightclub. And that's what it would have been. There would have been absolutely, in terms of transfers or anything, there would be nothing going on. But this was in the days when there wasn't a structure at Manchester United. Some people will look at that as the main structure is there. But the main thing for me that it says is other executives are remaining in Europe to negotiate transfers. Transfers, will this affect transfer activity? Man United have signed players before while they've been out on USA tours. It doesn't take much. I say it doesn't take much. Once you've got an agreement in place with the player, which United have done with Delete and Ugarte up to this moment in time, they're actually doing it in reverse of what they used to. Now they're trying to negotiate a fee with the actual club. And this is where we're at with Delete. As we very well know, Romano has given us constant updates on this, and Ugarte as well, because United are looking at him thinking, hey, sunshine, this ain't the Manchester United of old. Forget them knobheads who used to be in charge. There's a new sheriff in town. That's what it is. You've got Sir Jim, Barada, Brailsford, the full team there, Wilcox, Ashworth, and they are not going to have their pants pulled down, as in previous transfer windows. And I like that hardball reaction. It's like, we mean business, yes. And what they've done in effect, agreeing terms with the players. I'm not saying they've unsettled them, but yes, but you know what? They've unsettled them. That's what they've done. Because now it's up to United and the club. In Delit's case, we already know that he wants to come to Manchester United. You could go as far as saying he's probably set his heart on it. He's probably already looking at schools in Prestbury, houses in wherever, Audley Edge and all that. And you would have to factor that in. But we'll have to see how that one goes, because United are going to play hardball the same way that they did with Branthwaite. We're not going to pay 70 million. We want 70 million, la. We're not paying it. We'll go elsewhere. And that's exactly what they've done. And we've upset a hell of a lot of Everton fans in the process. Don't understand that one. But let's get back in to the super chats, which is fast becoming the most entertaining thing of my evening. Let's have a look. We read that one before. Sheldon the Don says, I'm Sheldon from Kenya. Nice to meet you. Says, any updates on Ugarte? We are still at the risk of repeating myself, we're still at that point where Manchester United are saying to PSG, no. What is it, 70 million euro that PSG want? And we have to say, could Manchester United possibly, we are hearing stories about a Jadon Sancho, PSG, maybe being interested in the player. Could a deal be done in that way? It's very rare in football, especially with Man United, that you see players and money, player swaps and money being added, because it doesn't tend to work that way. But could they come to some agreement where Ugarte comes to United and Sancho goes to PSG? Again, Sancho is something I did have in my list for a little bit later on, because obviously PSG are interested. I wanted to give you my thoughts on that, and the comments that obviously Ten Hag coming out and saying that Jadon Sancho, it is water under the bridge now. That was the Kev's Dutch accent coming out there. You having that one? Cryptic Celt said, read that. Oh, God. Forgot all about that then, and I thought, oh God, he's caught me out. Cryptic Celt says, will Wolves get their out this season? Yeah, you nearly got me. Jackie Boy said we should get Freddie. He's absolutely class, and like Dalot, can play left and right, but also can play in midfield, and his work rate is insane. Thank you very much for the super chat. I always say this, but I am honestly absolutely love it. Massey Pose. Yeah, Massey Pose at work says, great show, Kev. In your personal opinion, what positions do we still need to fill transfer-wise? I think, is it Macy or Massey? It doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter, but thanks for the super chat. The main ones are going to be left back has become a huge issue, because we don't know about Luke Shaw, as I've said, with Malacia, what is going on. So you definitely need a left back. And for me, the area of the team now, I know we've brought in Xerxes to hopefully kind of challenge, take the workload off Højlund. I think we're heavily stacked in the winger department. Love the fact that Ahmad's breaking in now. Ten Hag's come out with really positive comments about Ahmad after his performance against Rangers at the weekend. Where does Sancho fit in? You've got Rashford to come back in. You've got Garnacho, Anthony. It really is. We are heavily stacked in them areas. So for me, the midfield area, the next one that needs addressing, because Kobbie Mainoo is going to be the mainstay. I think you could build that team around him. And then the question marks about Casemiro, Amrabat. Again, it's something I wanted to get into later, but we'll see as we get through. Jackie Boy back in says, rumour is Malacia had a botched surgery like Martinez did and has to have another one. If that's true, who is our doctor? Jeff from the Chippy. Hey, don't slag Jeff from the Chippy. He gives Kev a good discount on a Friday afternoon. But yeah, I get your point. Listen, I think a lot of us, even from the outside looking in, can see that the medical department isn't fit for purpose, and that's why there'll be an internal investigation. If INEOS are already looking at the staff that are working from home, productivity, easy enough for Kev to say, they will be looking into the medical department, because you look at the stats of this team, even before Erik Ten Hag, this has been, and in comparison to any other Premier League team, any other team, the injuries are just that. It cannot be a coincidence, and it cannot be. It is a coincidence, in fact, because the medical department is shit. That's what it is. But it's you look at it and think that questions need to be asked there. What is being done? I think players even last season, to an extent, were rushed back, and you can blame Erik Ten Hag to an extent, but I do think that he was fighting the vultures off, who were constantly circling around his head every week in the media. It was all Ten Hag out. He's gone at the end of the season, even up to FA Cup final day. Even if he wins the FA Cup, he's still a dead man walking. Even after he won the FA Cup, he's still gone. So we got clarity, obviously, with that United extending the contract, but I do think that Erik ten Hag's hand was massively forced last season when it come to playing certain players. But the medical department, yeah, pretty dog shit, man. Mojo says, if we don't get De Ligt and Ugarte, the names we are being linked with seem to be above average players. Will they be able to handle the Premier League or live up to United's expectations / pressures? That's a fantastic question, that, because this is where a hell of a lot of players at Manchester United have really fallen by the wayside. I think the badge has weighed too heavy on them. They've just not stood up to it. I think they've bought into it. They've come here, you know, whatever, all this nonsense with social media. They get the followers and all this. Maybe believe their own hype. You know, there's players even still in this squad that I'd beat with. I wouldn't beat them. Sounds a bit, you know, a bit violent. I was going to say beat them with a stick, but again, I would not do that. Let's clear that one up. But what I would say is that they just, I think they believe their own hype. They actually believe that they are better than what they are. And I think that comes from maybe reading stuff about yourself, you know, being constantly told that, when in theory, if you're not going to crack on, you're not willing to learn, you're not willing to be that Cristiano Ronaldo, that absolutely show pony every day that comes in first before everybody else leaves, after everybody stays late to train. And, you know, you can easily just become average. But, you know, a fancy haircut and earrings and all that stuff, it doesn't really, you know, it doesn't make you a good footballer. It's what you do on the pitch ultimately, and that comes from hard work. Jackie Boy said, oh, we've read that one. Risick is back in, said Eric's dream team: Onana, De Ligt, Martinez, Shaw, Bruno, Ugarte, Simmons, Garnacho, Rashford, Xerxes, Ramos. Yes, obviously other Manchester United news today, if you didn't know, and if it's the kind of thing that floats your boat. Shirt numbers. I know some people get very, they can really take this bad, but Rasmus Højlund has got the number 9 shirt. Massive shirt to fill when you think of the previous player who wore it, so we'll have to see if Rasmus can achieve half of what Anthony Martial did at United. But it is, where in terms of you look at past players, obviously the first one that springs to mind, a top number 9 at Manchester United, would be Andy Cole, or Andrew Cole as he likes to be referred to now. Sorry, Andrew. Yeah, always referred to as Andy Cole at United. Songs sung about him. Then when he finished football, he just decided he wanted to be called Andrew, which is fair enough because it is his name. So Andrew Cole, one of the best number 9s. Who else have we got? We've got Ibrahimovic, Lukaku, Martial. So, yes, Falcao. Falcao's in there. Been a bit of a thingy shirt, that, really, hasn't it? A bit of a tainted kind of curse shirt. So hopefully Rasmus can certainly light up the 9 shirt next season. That's what I would say. We got a message deleted there, which means, you know, somebody was trying to have Kev over. The moderators have swooped in and just took it away. Kev, can you get caught out in another language, Jackie Boy? I don't really understand what that means. Yeah. Right, okay. So we nearly got, sorry, producer Greg's in my ear now. He's just telling me that one of the names that I previously read out could have sounded or been interpreted as something else. So I'll have to listen back to that. But Lewis is in the chat, says, Kev is smashing it. We need to see more. Kev, thank you very much for that. Certainly from an ego point of view, that's it's landed into my head, and absolutely buzzing to be here. Addressing the United Stand Nation on a Wednesday night. Like I say, Thursday nights are usually Lee Mack is where it's at, but I'm happy to be here on a Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? Darren Milani says, great job again, Kev. How many more signings do you think I will get? How many signings are you going to get, mate? Giving it the big one. How many more signings are United going to get? I personally think De Ligt, I think we will get that one over the line. I think United, there'll be a power struggle with Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich will back off. United will just get him into a corner, say, come on, let's get this sorted. Like I said, De Ligt wants to go. I think Ugarte as well will arrive as well. And I think possibly then you're looking at a left or a right back. Again, It's a difficult question to answer because within the space of a couple of days, and we've seen what happened last week with Manchester United. You know, I always say, it's like waiting for a 192 bus on Stockport Road. You wait there for hours, and then all of a sudden 5 of them just all arrive at once, and you're like, what's going on, man? You know, and the board behind says they should arrive every 2 minutes. You think they've just been at the end of the road having a fag or whatever, pulled up and that, but you've waited 2 hours. That's what happened with Manchester United last weekend in terms of transfers, because we had obviously Xerxes was at the Sunday, and then the Euro thing just kind of exploded last Thursday when they obviously announced it at 8 o'clock on that last Thursday evening. That's nearly a week ago, which was a sensational signing. Rachel Malley says, so great to see you tonight, Kev. Breath of fresh air on the United stand. The Kev shows are always entertaining. Any progress on the Amrabat deal? That's a great one. Hold your thingy on that, Rachel. Thanks very much for the super chat. I did have something lined up. Wanted to have a look at the midfield area. We were going to talk about a Casemiro and Eriksen, I mentioned at the start of the show, could be going to Ajax. But Mojo has just gifted 5 the United Stand membership sips. Sips, yeah, get your lamb sips and your memberships. Gifted 5 the United Stand memberships. What an absolute legend. I know this name, right? I'm just going to call you Lee. You nearly caught me out. Lee, everybody else can have a look in the chat. Yeah. Lee says, hope you're good. Do you think we will get De Ligt? Yes, I've just answered that one. Thank you very much. And change your name back, Lee. Grow up. How old are you? Do you know what I mean? You did make me laugh anyway. Risick is back in, says Diego Forlan, number 9. What a man Diego was. He came from Uruguay. He made the Scousers cry. You know, that fee alone, just to see him at Anfield that day destroy Liverpool, was enough. He's gone down in folklore. You know, United Stand still sing that song about Diego Forlan. And I was there at Old Trafford. I remember, he went 20-odd games without scoring, and it just felt like he was the most cursed footballer you'd ever seen. But for no love of trying, everybody could see that Diego Forlan was just wanting to be at United. And you kind of looked at him and you're like, he just could not hit a cow's ass with a banjo. It just come down to that. And then once he scored that absolute rocket after going 20-odd games, he went on a bit of a scoring spree. But it was after United, when he left, that he become absolutely prolific. Where did he go? Was it Atletico Madrid or somewhere in Spain? Absolutely tore it up in Europe. Some of the numbers he was putting in. And that was at our point when, again, we probably looked and went, why couldn't he do that at United? But again, the shirt does weigh heavy on some of these players. But Risick, thank you for getting involved in the live chat, and thanks for throwing in Diego Forlan. That was an absolute throwback. What we're going to do is, we did have a little bit of an exclusive from our very own Sam C. As a lot of you will know, he does jump up in the YouTube chat here again. He's a younger, more, better looking version of Fabrizio Romano, maybe. I don't know. Listen, it depends what you're into, man. But Sam did give us this exclusive this evening. It was to do with Christian Eriksen. It's not major news, but it is interesting when you look at it. It says that Ajax are interested in Eriksen on loan. United would rather have him gone on loan plus obligation to buy, just a permanent move, but there's room for negotiation on this one. The thing is, and the question you need to ask yourself on this, if Eriksen did go to Ajax and it was a loan deal, with 1 year left on his deal, how would this actually work for Manchester United? Because it's like, well, if you're getting a player like Eriksen for 1 year and then you say, well, we'll agree to buy him at the end of it. Why would you do that if you can get him for free? You know, this is where we're at with Amrabat at the moment. Another one, obviously, the super chat from earlier that I wanted to read out. But there has been some talks about Amrabat from a football agent. I've got the actual quotes up here, and it says, he's saying, his football agent, here we go, I'll try and pronounce this one for you, but it's Giulio, is an Italian, is it name, or Tedeschi. There we go, got that one out. Giulio Tedeschi. Apologies if you're watching, mate. I probably absolutely just horrendous pronunciation of your name. But he is saying that there's concrete possibility of Amrabat returning to Manchester United this summer. But this feeds in, obviously, with the super chat earlier. I can't remember who it was, but you were asking me and saying any updates on Amrabat, or do you think he'll sign? It goes on to say that he returned to Serie A after United refused to exercise the 16.8 million purchase option in his contract. That's where we're at this moment in time, because United, under the kind of, what was it, the previous regime or whatever, Erik ten Hag's brought him in. But INEOS must be looking now and thinking, all right, you'd written this in that at the end of the season you could get him for 16.8 million. But then you look at it and think, well, what we could do is actually hang on here and agree a better deal. And INEOS are ruthless. They are ruthless. I just told you earlier, you know, I mean, they're laying off people behind the scenes. People that work from home are being told to get back into the office, get their arse in gear or whatever. And, it, you know, they have looked at this across the board. But one of them deals would have been Amrabat. And I think 100% Erik ten Hag wants to sign him. But this is where the structure now kicks in. And they'll go, well, all right, well, you agreed on 16.8. But in this position now that Fiorentina are in, he's got a year left on his contract. So they're not holding a strong card. If this was a card game, they haven't got that strong hand. The strong hand is Manchester United, and they're the ones in this game of poker now that are looking across the table and going, well, what's your next move then? And Fiorentina can say 16.8 million, that's what we want. And Man United are just going to go, you know, they'll just stick. Because they know that Amrabat probably, well, I'm sure Amrabat wants to come or stay at Manchester United, but that 16.8, with a year left on his contract, I'm sure that the powers above are probably looking and thinking, I reckon we can get this done for about 8-9 million. You know, that's my personal opinion. I think they will actually look at it. It does go on to say that Amrabat returning to United have improved because Erik ten Hag has stayed after a brief period of uncertainty. So it's going on to say that the manager getting that year extra, we know that it could possibly be 2 years, has strengthened the kind of transfer stance with Amrabat. It says right now, in my opinion, there is concrete possibility of bringing Amrabat back to Manchester United, that he told Italian outlet Firenze Viola. Yeah, he sure did. He goes on to say that there was a bit of doubt, and he's going on to say on loan with obligation or at a lower figure. The United solution is the easiest. He believes that Amrabat renewal with Fiorentina until 2026 was done deliberately to help gain strength. It goes on to say that United, there you go, could possibly get Amrabat for 8.4 million. And I think that would be a good bit of business. You are talking nearly half. We've just spoke about a figure of 16.8 million. You have got people in the right positions now. And if they can sniff out a little bit of, I say, a bargain, this is just playing hardball. This is what business is. I always detest referring to Manchester United as a business, but we've got PSR, financial fair play and all this. It is, you know, I love the football side of things, tend to try and stay away from all the financial kind of nonsense. All these people online, these rival fans that keep telling me, you know, United have spent this and that. And I'm like, you know, even the Euro. Oh, God, that Euro deal. I mean, if you need to know that United are back in terms of transfers and what we are doing and the waves that United are making in the sea of football, it's the fact that so many rival fans are triggered by what Man United are actually starting to achieve in this transfer window and the names that are starting to come through the door. And the Euro one, I mean, the scenes, the Scousers for a start. You've got that Scouse guy on TikTok absolutely losing his mind. And I mean, you know, you've overpaid for Euro. You know, we didn't want Euro. We're not daft. We wouldn't spend that on Euro. Shut up, you silly Scouse knobhead. You know, I don't even know what his name is. He called Jeff or Harold or something, but he's giving it the big licks. And I think these Scousers, man, they make out as they're so privileged, and they think that, you know, every single player in their squad has come through the youth academy and that. You know, how much was Van Dijk? How much was Alisson? How much was Nunes? You know, how much was Gakpo? You just got them all on a free, did you? Did they all come through the youth academy? Calm down, la. Yeah, but I mean, the fact that so many rival fans were just so angry at what United were doing. You know, we have been a laughingstock for so many years, the butt of so many social media jokes. And again, the only way that we can kind of stand up to this and laugh it off will be what we do next season. And the real work starts for Erik ten Hag next season. I keep saying this. I will reiterate the point that the honeymoon period is well and truly over. I always said give Ten Hag 3 seasons. So even though I backed Erik ten Hag, I wanted to see under the structure how he will get on this season. And I think he deserves to work under that. You know, some people might argue and say another manager could have come in, but there was people crying out to change Erik ten Hag before INEOS even bought out Manchester United. So for me, not bought them out, sorry, before they bought the stake in Man United. And these people were just so in on Ten Hag, and you try to look and see the bigger picture and thinking there's the team above him, they're not helping him out. But again, I'll be the first to admit that if this season is anything like last season, I mean, if you're talking finishing outside the Champions League places, then I think the writing will be on the wall. INEOS they'll look at that, and I think they'll view it as failure. And if Ten Hag keeps getting backed with the first targets that he wants, the first names on that sheet, then he's not going to have any excuses. He really won't. I think he's got the support network around him now, and they are getting the deals done that he actually wants. And it was refreshing to get Xerxes and Euro straight through the door. The others might follow. Some people are saying because the top brass or whatever, the main executives of this club have took off to the US tour, things can still get done. Players can still get sold. A Jadon Sancho, I'm sure if a decent enough bid comes in for him, it doesn't take much. Just to book an aeroplane ticket, and he'll be off to Paris or wherever it'll be. And these things can get done, but we'll have to see, won't we? We've got a few more super chats to read before we call it a day here on the Wednesday night show. Mojo says, can this still become a Glazer summer? Sign Amrabat for 15 million and get Rabiot on a free. If Mojo, they were the only 2 players we were gonna sign, then of course I would say that is Glazeronomics at its absolute finest. The fact that we've got Xerxes through the door and we've got Lenny Yoro, if you add them 2 in as well, I wouldn't want to stop at that. But I get exactly what you're saying. But yeah, if it was just them 2 players, I'm used to it, and I'm sure you are as a United fan. It's just so refreshing that we seem to be acting like a big club, getting these kind of deals over the line, and I like getting them done kind of pre-season as well. Sometimes it's nice. I know Xerxes is still on holiday, but other players will travel with the squad just to get integrated, bit of game time, because before we know it, we're going to be running out at Old Trafford. So this is the one against Fulham, and that's when the real season starts. But it's great to get them integrated into the squad. Gary R, a member for 20 months. Wow, very nice. Says on the Kev, love the Irish. On the Lev, sorry. On the Lev. What does it mean, on the Lev? On the Lash? On the Lev? On the Bev? Don't know. On the Lev, love the Irish. I love the Irish as well. Mighty crack, as they would say. Rachel Malley says, shouldn't say anything. I'm supposed to say to you, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Mike nearly caught me out there. Fair play to you, Sunshine. Says Ugarte for 50 million or Amrabat for 10 million. Oh, what a great question. Tell you what, I'll throw that in too, and I feel like I've neglected you there in that live chat. Do you know what? Let's get a goal. Let's get a poll going to bring us through to the end of the video. Yeah, Greg, let's do that. Greg in the back is now working fiercely. He's typing away, getting this done. Love Greg. Love love the team. Ugarte for 50 million or Amrabat for 10 million. And let's see, we'll run that through to the end of the video and see exactly what everybody else is saying. But we'll just go into the the normal chat. I've got a feeling it's going to be very wild in there. Yeah, John is saying, don't do an Irish accent, mate. I thought it was all right, that. The mighty crack. I suppose it depends where you come from in Ireland. Sean Connery, I've just been told. I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond. Yeah, listen, I can do all types of... we'll keep that one for another night as well. We can do that. What is that? The Greystone says Ugarte, obviously. Shane Smith saying Ugarte. Shane Simpson is being... Oh, wow. He's saying both. Yeah, he's not messing about. You greedy sod. I want both. There's somebody. There's a man who knows what he wants in life. You know, do you want one or the other? Kev's cheeky poll, says Hassan. We have got the poll up and running. Make sure you get involved in that. Ugarte for 50 million, Amrabat for 10 million. Let's weigh up the pros and cons of this. The main one that I can see from it is the price difference. You know, maybe you like that person before. You said, I just want both of them. Not messing about. You know, I like a man like that. Just knows what he wants. Goes into a bar. I want everything. You know, do you want a pint or, you know, lager, Guinness? Both. I'll have both, mate. Unfortunately, it does not work like that on the United Stand. It is a democracy and we want to get fan engagement. Otherwise, we could have just ended the show then. We could have said that, was it Shane just said both and we end it. But either or, Ugarte for 50 million or Amrabat for 10 million. I'm sure that if the Glazers are watching, they're definitely clicking on Amrabat 10 million here. They're like, oh, Jesus, let's put it in. Amrabat for 10. We don't want to pay 50 million for Ugarte, but obviously, you can take into consideration the age. You could also take into consideration the fact that Amrabat, I would say this as well, didn't really get a run of games in his preferred position at Manchester United. And last season, so look, I'd say Stefan's in there and just said both for 60 million, Kev. It's not the poll, Stefan. Come on, it's either or. That's why Greg's put it in there and said either or. If there was another one for both, it'd be there, and I'm sure everyone would have clicked both. But you just get one, you know, one. Honestly, I mean, some people, honestly, unbelievable. Oh, I don't know. Both for 60 million. Honestly, what an answer. I love looking into this live chat. Terrible Irish accent, says Sean. Honestly, a violation here. Kev, I must be the only person on the United Stand that just gets so much. I mean, we're talking about lookalikes, whatever I say, I never get taken seriously. Honestly, I go home and I cry myself to sleep. I really do. I don't have a cracking night's sleep, but I do love the banter, or the bants, as Richard Keys would once famously said. Right, we'll look at... I think we've got another super chat. Let's have a look at that. Let's see who's trying to catch Big Kev out with one of the old super chats. No, it's Rachel Malley. Says, cracking show tonight, Kev. Have a great evening. Thank you very much, Rachel. It's an absolute... One thing is, Kev, it's very, very warm in the studio. Everybody says that Kev's skin always looks very radiant and like I've got fake tan on. I think Greg said that one time. And we had words about it after the show and he never said it again. But... yeah, it's the lights and the leather chair doesn't help, you know, this leather chair, honestly, in this heat. But I think what we will do, we've asked the question, and you know what, we've not really, for being totally honest, really broken it down. The main thing I can see is that unless you're massively in favour of Amrabat from the little bits that you've seen of him, maybe you're still looking at that FA Cup final and thinking, Amrabat, what a performance, he deserves it. Again, you would have to look at the fact that he did spend, a season at United. So he knows the place, he knows the players, but he would just need a run of games. But I think a lot of people, given this choice, and I've not even looked at the poll, are probably going to go for Ugarte, unless you like them people that said both for 60 million, you know, both. It's not how it works, it really isn't. But I wonder if Greg can do you know what? Let's see if Kev can actually sort this one out and have a look himself. Right, let's end the vote. The suspense is absolutely killing me. We've shut it down. It's disappeared. Oh, there it is. Either or, Ugarte for 50 million or Amrabat for 10 million. 72%, absolute landslide here on the United Stand Wednesday night. 72% are going for Ugarte. But there's 27% of the interest was in Amrabat. I like that. I do like that. 1.5k votes on that. So, like I say, it wasn't just 3 or 4 years. And I dread to think what the people who voted both, you know, where have they gone now? You know, some people, you just can't keep them happy. You just can't please them. Do you know what I mean? Jay says, love you Wednesday, Kev. Thank you very much. I am in the live chat. I like to get in there. It's a bit like, you know, when the likes of John O'Shea and, what do you call it, Ashley Young and that used to be pictured at Anfield, you know, with the hoods up in the away end. That's what I feel like it is when I jump into the live chat with you lot, the United Stand Ultras, as I call you. I don't mean that in a bad thing. I said that one week and everyone was like, you know, thinking I was calling him some kind of football hooligan. I was like, I'm not, mate. You know, I'm just saying. It's the Ultras are like the hardcore United Stand viewers. And I appreciate every single message. But what we will, I always get towards the end of a show, what I would say is, if you've enjoyed what you have seen, we have discussed a lot of topics there. It seems a hell of a long time since we were discussing left and right backs. We covered Christian Eriksen, we talked about Luke Shaw. We didn't really even get into Casemiro and the midfield, but we did talk about Amrabat, and that's because of Super Chat coming in, so it shows the power of the Super Chat. What I would say is, yeah, thank you very much. Like I say, a bit of a technical hitch at the start. We certainly got through that, and I always enjoy every single comment, even the ones that are now trying to catch Kev out. I know that Beth has been caught out big time. I'm sure, in fact, it's only a matter of time before Kev gets caught out. But what I would say is, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. Ryan and Beth, producer Ryan, have flown out to LA today. Not jealous at all. I'm holding the fort here in the United Stand studio in Manchester, where it's been raining this afternoon. But they're going on the plane. They'll be on the plane, actually, as we speak, off to LA to cover you for the tour. So hopefully we'll get some exclusive content. Would be absolutely brilliant if we could get some kind of interviews with the players. So fingers crossed for that one. But stay tuned here on the United Stand. Make sure you finger the like button. Make sure you subscribed. Turn the notification bell on, because when some news drops, and we seen what happened last week, man. Once news starts dropping left, right and centre, as a Manchester United fan or a fan of football, whatever you are, you will be the first in the loop. We're like the Fabrizio Romano of the YouTube world. We'll let you know. You know, we've got you back. You know, you don't need to go anywhere else. Forget the rest. Stay with the Georgie Best of the United fan channels. That's what we are here. Quick one in from Jay says, big up the Kev Massive, just to finish us off. What a note to finish off on. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for your interaction on the poll. We'll do it all again tomorrow night. Thursday night, Lee Mack will be back. Thank you very much. You've been watching the biggest United... I've got to mess it up, haven't I? What? It's doing so well. You've been watching the biggest Man United fan channel in the land. This was the United Stand. Bye-bye.